day that I announced the winner of the National Cake Topper competition. So, drum roll please. Thank you to everybody that sent in an entry. It's really difficult picking a winner and a runner-up, but I have done that, and the winner is Janet Elizabeth. Janet Elizabeth, her cake was so great. It had a lovely caravan, a very detailed caravan, and it had a modelled figure reclining, sunbathing. And she put a caption when she sent the entrance in saying that this figure was dreaming of where the location of the national might be next year. And I thought that was very clever. So well done to Janet. And the second place, the runner-up, well, it was really, really beautiful cake. The runner-up is May Reese Moulton. So well done, May. And her cake was completely different. Again, it was 2 tiers, semi-naked cake. And it had flowers and fruits, tiny little caravan in there. And it was so sort of summery and makes you dream of your holidays and where you might go in your caravan or motorhome. So well done to both of the runner-up. That's brilliant. So yeah, see you next time. Bye. Hi everyone. I'm in my studio, aka conservatory. I'm working on my ideas for the national cake. Yeah, the thing is, I'm nowhere near ready to make the actual sponge cake yet, but I can get on with my sugar work because it goes hard, it stays good, and it's another job out of the way. So I was thinking about the theme for my topper, because it's the National Rally Cake Topper Challenge competition, and I thought, well, what sums it up to me? And for me, it's a sort of colourful, joyous summer occasion, and like a festival really type vibe. So I've gone with that. So I'm working on, I'll let you see, I've got all sorts of tackle out here, but this is some flowers, various colours, and you might have spotted this isn't the actual one. This is just a tryout of a van, courtesy actually of Swift. They gave me these like cardboard templates last year at the NEC, and it's come in handy. So that's sort of that going on. So our butterflies as well. It's very flower power at the moment, and I've got a blue. It's a special request for a certain someone. We need blue on this cake, so I've got a nice blue flag, and I've got the bunting. Can you see? I won't pick it up. Well, I'll try to get one or 2 pieces. So I'm making my triangles and painting them. So it's a really nice thing to be doing this morning. So I'm getting all this stuff done, and I'm making a Barbie, because obviously there's a Barbie, isn't there? So this is it. It's like this one's like a kettle drum. I've got legs. I've got a little lid as well, and I've got, if it works out, I've got a little grill and some tiny sausages and burgers to go on it. So that's exciting me. So that's my sort of first stage, and then I'm going to video another one where I've got plans to use gingerbread on the top of the cake, because we're all making the same cake. It's just what we do with the design and the theme that we're looking at, getting excited about. So I better get back to it. I made a mess, got all my things out, but it's really nice and relaxing in actual fact. So see you later. Bye. I've been working on my national cake topper again today. I've been finishing off the sugar decorations that I did yesterday. I've given them another coat of paint to make them really vibrant, and also I've given them a bit of well, a spit and polish. I've used edible confectioner's glaze, and it's really great, and it makes them obviously very shiny and beautiful. So let's just have a little look at the decorations here. I've put them on the cake board. The green cake board is what I'm going to build the whole national cake on, and it gives me an idea of how my colour scheme is working out. So what have we got? We've got obviously some lovely pretty flowers, various colours. We've got some butterflies, 2 sizes with some tiny ones as well. We've got bunting, and we've got a blue flag for a certain someone, and a rug, and this little Barbie, cute. It's got sugar, coal, and I've got a grid that I made with royal icing there, and sausages and burgers, and the lid goes on like that, and yeah, it's all working out quite well. So that's the sugar work done. Next up for my national cake topper is my gingerbread details. So maybe I'll work on that tomorrow. We'll see. So I've been working on my national topper cake again. So these are what we finished already, my lovely sort of colourful elements. So I wanted to bring a different sort of thing into the whole bake. So I've used some gingerbread, think gingerbread house or gingerbread men stuff. So I've made a large facade really of, hold it up, you can see, hopefully you can see, I've got some stained glass windows. Yeah, that's glacier fruits, and they melt in the oven and looks very effective. Because like the national always has a fancy sort of location, so that's that. And these are going to have flags on, hopefully, if I can get them to balance on there. So going back down, we've got also, it wouldn't be right if we didn't have some vehicles. So I've got some little caravans down here, 2 sizes, and some cute motorhomes. And I got the cutters off eBay, I think, really cheap, just a few pounds, and stamped them out on some sort of piping work. So the only thing left to do now, I think, is another version of this caravan, because it's a bit rough. It's my prototype. I've got a template, and I've got shop bought cake, cheating a bit, but that's got a nice curve already, so I'll chop that down, and I'll do that another day, I think. It's all sort of coming together. I've still got to bake the cake, of course. That's the easy bit for me. So that's it. Today's baking day. I'm going to actually bake the Madeira sponge for my national cake, and I've picked a Madeira recipe because it's more robust compared to, say, a Victoria sponge. Because if you do want to carve your cake or model it in any way, or even tier it, it will withstand that treatment. So what's the difference? It just has a bit more flour in than a Victoria sponge ratio wise. So we need a 8-inch, sort of 20cm tin, loose bottom I've got, deep, 4 inches that, and lined, you can see, and that's ready to go. So quickly the ingredients. So in here I've got 300 grams of soft margarine. You can use butter if you want to. I've got 300 grams of caster sugar. I've got 5 large eggs beaten up in here, and in this bowl I've got 300 grams of self-raising flour and 85 grams of plain. That's just so that we don't get, I don't want a big dome on, we want it as flat as possible. And then just a teaspoon or so of vanilla extract, and I'm ready to rumble. Eyes down, look in. So I'm going to beat up the butter or marge very quickly with my electric whisk. That's fine. Add the sugar. We beat this now until it's sort of light and fluffy. Because I've used like soft margarine out of the tub. Because it's so soft, it really doesn't take much beating together. you've got butter, it might take a bit longer. Woo! There we go. And in go the eggs. And I've got my flour ready. Sometimes when you put the eggs in, it sort of curdles it a bit, so a little bit of flour as you go might stop that. So I'm beating it with this. Just a matter of minutes. Just going to put a little spoon of flour in there now, just to finish that process off. Okay, and then, a bit of egg white there, then we just need to get the flour in. Now when I was a girl, my mother used to have me folding flour in with a large metal spoon, and I tend to stick to that. That's so that we don't disturb the gluten in the flour too much, because that way we get dense and heavy cakes. Having said that, a Madeira cake is more sort of robust, I think, than it's not a delicate sponge, so I think it can perhaps take it. I'm just folding it figure of 8 wise just a bit to get some of that flour through the mixture. In the rest. It's quite stiff. If you do find that it's too hard to work with, you can actually put a splash of milk in this. I've forgotten to put, but it doesn't matter when you do this. This is just some vanilla paste. I eyeball that. You can't really have too much of that. So vanilla's in. I'm just going to give it all a quick whiz together. You can use a stand mixer if you have one. I have one, but I do find for this quantity of cake, this works fine. And now we have, whoop, we have our mixture, and I am going to just clean up the worktop a little bit and get it into my cake tin, and I'll do another little shot of that in a second. Right, I've cleaned the decks off a little bit, and I just need to get my mixture into my greased and lined cake tin. And I am baking this all in the one tin. Obviously, some people might split the mixture into a couple of tins, but I did this as a practice earlier. It worked fine, and it just needs a long, low sort of temperature bake. So we're going to put this in my oven at 140C. If it was a fan, it would even be 120, so it is quite low. And bake it for a good hour and a half until the cake is lovely and risen, golden, and you can press it with your fingertip and you can feel that it's firm. And you can put the old skewer test in, so you put a skewer through, pull it out, and if it's clean, it's cooked. So just using my spatula now. These silicone spatulas are amazing because they can get every last bit of your mixture out. So you know when you were a child and you always wanted to clean the bowl out, there's not much left to go out really. But anyway, that's in there. And now I'm using my offset spatula so I can get right in. Coax it to the sides, just wiggle it about, smooth it down, sort of swivel that around like so. Now this cake I'm baking in advance of decoration. I'm going to freeze it. Sponge cakes generally do freeze well. That means you can get well ahead in your preparation. You get the cake done into the freezer. I've done some of my toppers already, and then you're not rushing all at the last minute trying to do everything on one day if you've got a busy life. You can plan it a little bit really, and that's fine. So there we go. That cake is ready to go in my oven, and I'll see it later. Moment of truth. So it's baked. I've done all the appropriate tests and everything, and I'm convinced it's fine. So I'm going to turn it out of its cake tin. So I'm going to I've left it to cool in here just for a few minutes because the cake obviously is quite tender still when it comes out of the oven, and I don't want to risk damaging it in any way. So that's the backing paper lifted out. Tin's still quite hot. So this is how I do it. So I'm just going to get hold of this now, hopefully without any bake-off incidents. And it's a little bit awkward to twist, but anyway, there we go. Ta-da! So it's a lovely big cake. I'm going to peel away. So we've got one beautiful flat surface and obviously a bit of a dome on the other side. I'm going to flick this back now so we can have a good look at it. So there's the cake, beautiful. So it's deep. It's entirely optional what you do from here on in. You can just decorate it in one piece. You can do what I'm going to do later, which is trim off the dome top so I've got another flat surface, and then I'm going to actually cut it into 3 cakes and stack it. So my cake's actually going to be quite deep when I put my filling in, but that's an option for the national sort of cake challenge. Do what you feel you can. So this is going to cool on this rack now, and when it's completely cold I'm going to wrap it up and I'm going to freeze it and come back to it nearer the time that we need to decorate it. So brilliant. So the first job for me is to take the slightly domed top off my cake, and I'm using a bit of a lethal weapon, but it's my special tool for the job, and having a lazy Susan or a turntable is useful for these jobs. So I'm just going in straight and sort of going around the edges with this. So I want a flat top for my national cake, hopefully. If it's a bit wonky, you can do wonders with a bit of buttercream or ganache. But that's the idea. I'm just taking that crusty top off, and then I will be, see, I've gone through it now, up, through and lift. Ta-da! And then I will be splitting the cake into 3 using the same technique. It's optional, this. You can just decorate your cake in 1 cake if you want to, or split it into 2. There's no rules, it's just what I'm doing. So I'll show you this when I've done the splitting. Bye. So I've done my cake splitting now. I've got 3 fairly even layers of cake, and I'm going to build up now using a buttercream to stack them. I made this, it's lovely, it's Swiss meringue, caramel and chocolate buttercream. It's quite decadent really, but I think it's going to make a delicious cake. But you can use jams, curds, ordinary buttercream, you know. There's lots of scope out there, so let's see how I get on with this. So national cake topper detail is pretty much done, I think. I won't know till the final assembly whether I need to tweak anything or get some more stuff going on. I have got some ideas in reserve. So over here I've got, do you remember, it's sort of going to be a bit like that, like a fairy castle come stately home location. They do need flags on the flagpoles, that's something I've got to do at the end. And I've got a bag full of Caravan and Motorhome biscuits that I made, of course, on the way. And now over here, let's have a look, closer detail. I'll point on here. So we've got obviously a Caravan. Now I made this by cheating a bit by using shop-bought angel cake, covering it, fondant, and then sort of put my detail on. It's not perfect, but yeah, it'll do what it needs to do, I think. My favourite thing out of the whole build, I think, is the barbecue, simply because inside this is boiled sweets that are crushed up, and it represents the charcoal. We've even speckled it with black. Thing is, nobody will ever know it's there because it gets covered up with the grill, and the lid, of course, can go on later. But I like to know it's inside. I've got this lovely cute, I did this morning, cute little cold box to keep the drinks chilled while we sit and lounge on the deck chairs to watch the world go by and take it all in. We've got a rug for our picnic, if we want, and a book. And it's all colour basically. So we've got flowers, we've got the butterflies still here waiting. I did those a while ago. And that's pretty much the whole thing. I need to get the cake out, I need to frost it, possibly ganache it. I was thinking maybe tree trunk it, make it a tree trunk with this at the top as almost like a tree house fairy tale setting. I don't know, but that's the best part, putting everything together. So, ta-da! I've made some ganache to cover the cake with. Ganache is simply a mixture of cream and chocolate, equal measures if you're using dark chocolate. And I've just melted them together and I'm pouring them into this bowl. Woo, lovely, look at that. Lovely. To help it set quickly out of the warm pan. And then I'll be able to coat the cake sides and top with beautiful ganache. There we go, ganache. Right, so I've got all of my components ready now. So it's just going to be a question of stage by stage assembling it. So I'll just point out what we have. Cake, I have filled it with my chocolate buttercream and I've crumb coated it, sort of like that. And the next step is to use this lovely chocolate ganache all over it. And then I have some green buttercream for the top. Then I've got all the lovely detailed decorations here that we made earlier. I've got a nice cake board to set it on, and I've got the fairy tale castle, and I have got the motorhomes and the caravans. So this is the exciting part. This is where I put the whole cake together. Watch this space. So the ganache, I'm just going to be plastering it. I always think it's a bit like plastering a wall. So it's just the right consistency to smooth up and take it all the way around. I'm not being too fussed about the neatness really at this point. Just get it on, coating. And what I'm going to do is put a couple of coats, so this will go off, as they say in the trade, in the fridge, and then I'll put some more on. But we smooth it, so I'm just going to get right round to the part where it started. Quick, quick, quick. That's it, pretty much it. And then using a cake scraper, just at a right angle. This is why you need really a lazy Susan if you've got one, if you haven't got a turntable proper, just so that you can smooth it off and you can see straight away what's happening here. And I'll continue, set it in the fridge and come back and do another coat. So I've got the ganache on and I suddenly decided it was going to be a tree trunk, and our national event is going to take place almost like in a it's a bit fantastical this, but a bit like a imagine Jack and the Beanstalk going up and there we find our national event going on. So I've just used a fork to score a bit of bark effect on my and then we're just sticking. I might need to add a bit of chocolate just to make sure it sticks. So these are our members, all on the journey to the national. And I'm going to continue and they're going around there. And then I'm going to add a few bits of flowers maybe, and then we're going to do the actual topper. So, as you can see, I've pretty much done. It's the exact thing I was hoping to get. You never know when you're developing ideas. But this is my national cake. I'm simply now just sticking the bunting ribbon round, and I'll give it, I can't ever do a cake really these days without giving it some fairy dust. And I'm really pleased with it. It's got all the components of the national, I think, here going on. And yeah, it's colourful, it's fun, it's lively. So yeah, that's me nearly done. I'll give you a final twirl shortly. My national cake is finished. Ta-da! There we go. You know, I love it when a plan comes together.